Marrying Millions was on a couple nights ago. I was going to say last night, but it wasn't last night. It was a couple of nights ago. And guys, if you haven't already watched it, you should. It is a very good show. It is a new season that we are starting, and we have some new couples that I will introduce in a couple of minutes. But first, we need to talk about one thing that caught my eyes because I recognize someone on this new season, and that would be Kevin David and this Katie lady that he is supposedly dating, which, by the way, I am calling complete BS on their entire relationship. So you're probably wondering, why am I thinking that their relationship is, I don't want to say fake. Now, I don't know if they are actually dating or they're not, but their storyline that they are telling is completely fake and just scripted and not true. At least let me just say, to cover my you-know-what, that I think it is. I don't know for sure. Kevin and Katie, that's them right there. Kevin, in the words of Marrying Millions, is a tech investor or entrepreneur or something, and he is worth anywhere from $25 to $50 million. And his girlfriend, the beautiful Katie, is not worth anything. She doesn't have any money, and that is what their whole storyline is based around. He is so rich, and then the girlfriend, not really. But, do you guys recognize that Kevin person? Because if you don't know, he is technically a celebrity in the online selling world. Now, if you guys didn't know, I used to sell things online. I actually went on Shark Tank a long time ago, a very long time ago, and I used to sell stuff online. I had a phone case I would sell, so I have been selling for a very long time. And in this online seller's world, Kevin David is like a celebrity. Everyone knows him. You're probably wondering, well, what does he do? He teaches people how to sell stuff on Amazon and on Shopify in your own store. And that's about it. He charges about $1,000, $997, and he'll teach you how to make money. I don't want to say teach you how to get rich, but that's what he's claiming to do. I'm not saying the guy is a liar. I'm not saying he's good or bad, FYI. I'm just saying that is what he does. I've never bought any of his programs. I have just seen him advertise everywhere, and that's how he makes his money. He sells courses for about $1,000, and that's how he does it. The Kevin David I know, the guy makes probably the majority of his money, maybe 70, 80, 90% of his money, just selling these courses. But the first thing I thought was just funny and comical was, in this episode, Katie couldn't afford rent, supposedly. That's what she was saying. Her rent's $1,000 a month, and she can't afford it. So she goes to her boyfriend, Kevin. She gives him a Christmas gift, because this must have been filmed around Christmas. She said, here is your gift. And then after, he goes, oh my God, thank you so much. Then she goes, now, by the way, can you give me $1,000 for my rent? There is no way that if this is actually real and not scripted, that Kevin David guy would say no. And then, of course, he blamed it on, well, I was in a relationship with my ex, and I gave her 20 grand and she never gave it to me back, and blah, blah, blah. And so I, sworn to myself I'll never give money to another girlfriend ever again. No way. I do not believe it. I honestly had no idea that this Kevin and Katie girl were even dating. I did not know that. So I don't even know if this is real or if they are just dating for the show to get some fame. I'm not sure. But that little storyline that they had of, him not wanting to give her the money, I'm not buying. And let's meet some more couples. While we are on the topic of business and whatnot, let's meet Danny and Donovan. They are around my age. They went to high school together, and Donovan is supposedly a multi-millionaire with a real estate company. So when I first heard that, I go, that is weird. What in God's name does that mean, real estate company? And I Googled him and I researched him, and come to find out he is a wholesaler. Now, I'm not even going to comment my thoughts on the wholesale real estate business because you guys probably don't care, but really quick, what that means is wholesaling real estate pretty much means you'll find a house. Like, do you guys know those We Buy House signs? You see them everywhere. Those are usually wholesalers. They buy a house. Now, they don't buy a house. They get a house under contract. So if you have a house, you want to sell it, they'll come to you, and let's say the house is worth like 200 grand. They'll come to you and say, we'll give you 100. And if you're really desperate to sell your house, you might just say, okay, yeah, let's do it. I'll take 100 grand. So then they will sign a contract saying, I will give you $100,000. Then they turn around and they get another guy that will give them, say, like $150,000 for that contract. So they are just the middleman. They are not buying the house. They're not selling the house. They are just agreeing that the homeowner will sell it to them for $100,000. Then they go and they find another guy that'll, give them some little bit more, and they take the difference, and that's how they do business. Very odd business. I have never done it. I never, wanted to get involved in it because it just seems so weird. It's not like really a business. It's kind of just like you're just doing deals, kind of weird, never was really into it. That is what I'm pretty confident that this Donovan guy does. Supposedly he makes millions and millions and millions. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But this Danny lady, she was his high school crush. I guess they went to high school together. He had a big old crush on her, but she never gave him the time of day. And then all of a sudden, he hit her up and he hit her up and he hit her up. And finally, she started to kind of realize that, wow, he has got some coin, and she went after him. They're both attractive people. They aren't, ugly, or one or the other isn't ugly. Donovan, not a bad looking guy. So at first glance, you would think, well, they're probably actually a real couple, but I'm not buying it. And yes, they probably are actually dating, but I think Danny is using him. And I think Donovan, he's totally getting used. She works for him, number one, and I think she just wants him for her money. She even admitted it, that she had a pretty rough, upbringing, which is sad to hear, but she said, now she just has a $20,000 watch. Like, she literally said that, and she can come and go as she pleases. I think she is just using him to a certain extent for the money. And of course, now she's asking for what? A ring. She wants to get married. She wants to lock him up and marry him so she can keep this lifestyle. And of course, I don't blame her. But so that's what she's trying to do. And Donovan pretty much just said no, because his parents both had their fair share of marriage issues, and he's not really sure if he ever wants to get married. I'm kind of right there with him, hate to say it. So that's where he stands. That's where she stands. We'll have to see what happens with the couple. Then we saw Erica and Rick. I believe that is their names. And wow, that was awkward, funny, and cringy. Rick was living on his yacht. In his words, I don't know if he is actually a millionaire. He doesn't really appear to be, but he definitely seems to have some money. And Erica is my age. She is 23. And Rick, if you can't tell, is like in his mid to late 60s. Very, very, very old. And yeah, it's an awkward couple. Very cringy, very weird. And in this episode, we got to see Rick meet Erica's dad. And what do you expect happened? It was very awkward. And Erica is from Illinois. So her dad was a sweet, he seemed like just a nice Midwestern guy. They're not, Midwestern people are typically down to earth, nice people. And yeah, he seemed to fit that role pretty well. And let's be honest about Rick. Rick is down in Miami. Now, nothing against Floridian people, but I'm just saying, Rick, he's a little bit older, a little bit wilder. They did not mesh well. And not only do they have totally different personalities, but I mean, Rick is dating his 23-year-old daughter. So of course, the dad's not going to be happy. So he was not having it at all. Rick did not make him feel any better when they finally met. If anything, he felt worse. And then Erica's grandma also met Rick too, and same thing. She was disgusted. She thought it was horrible. She was not happy. We saw a little bit of Gentile and Brian, and at this stage in the season, they are not dating. It was Gentile's birthday. She's trying to find a man, blah, blah, blah. I have a hunch that they do get back together though, and they were also from the first season, FYI. So we will be seeing them together again, I believe, not for sure, but I'm pretty confident that they do get back together. And then last but not least is Noni and Reese. Noni is significantly older. I want to say like 15, 16, 17 years older than Reese. Reese is a skater kind of a guy. He's not the one making the money. And Noni is very successful. She had some kind of a job in the beauty industry over, I want to say, London. And then her beauty brand just exploded and she's doing really well. And unlike Kevin and Donovan, and Erica and Rick, who the couples I don't really like and I don't really trust, this couple I do like, and I honestly kind of love them. They are, different in age, but I think Reese is just a real guy. In the last episode, Reese got to meet some of Noni's friends who seemed to also be somewhat successful and a little bit stuck up, and they were not into Reese. They didn't like the guy, but I will say, he seems so legitimate, authentic, real, and he mentioned that at one point he was living in his car, and he also made a comment that he would be open to living in his car again in the future. So he just does not seem to be the kind of guy that is in this relationship for the money. I think he just likes her. He's attracted to her. She's different. She's unique. She is pretty, and I think he is just into her. But he told his family that he is now dating someone that is significantly older than him, and they were having a problem. They were having a big issue, big old fight, and he got upset and he stormed off and left. And Noni's friends, on the other hand, when they found out that Reese was living in his car, they also were like, what are you doing with this guy? guy. But I like these two. I think that they both just love each other and they want to be together, and that is what I'm hoping for. And I think they are a real legitimate couple that is, I don't know if I want to say in love, but they are in a good spot. So Marrying Millions, that is pretty much the recap from the last episode. There are one or two other couples that we just didn't get to see on last night's episode, but I'll be talking about them more in the future. So Marrying Millions, if you guys like this show, if you want to see more of these recaps, let me know. I am definitely going to continue to watch the show, so just let me know. Well, also guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and stay tuned for many more videos.